Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Max. I run an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency. And on this channel, we basically explore how to start, run and grow a successful marketing agency. Basically an agency that generates great results for our clients, but also helps us as the entrepreneur to achieve financial, time, and location freedom. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing and following along on the journey. In today's video, I basically want to talk about why I started an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency, when I was 26 years old. I want to talk about the financial freedom aspect, the time freedom aspect, the location freedom aspect, and then finally, just the joy of running in a scalable business essentially. So without further ado, let's just dive into point number uno. So let's talk about financial freedom. And when I was 26 or 25 years old, I was basically, I'd studied to be a web developer essentially. I didn't really like that. I knew that I wanted to do something with computers. So I basically joined a school that could taught me how to code. I thought it was pretty cool, and I really thought it was really cool to be able to see other people to code, but I just didn't enjoy it myself. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I didn't like it at all. And I actually got an internship at a really good agency. And that agency was actually in the same house that I'm sitting in right now, but at the bottom floor they had a super cool location, super cool team, and they were coding, and I got an internship there and I started to work. And I hoped that I would love it, but I never really did. And one day when I went to my internship, I basically understood that, hey, I just need to change things. I had basically started to read a lot of books like, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that one, I can highly recommend it. But I basically started to think for myself, like, what do I actually want to do in my life? And I also started to get inspired by other people on the web. Like back then on YouTube, it wasn't really that big, but there were some people or some channels kind of popping up where they talked about financial freedom and so forth. And I started to think about it more and more and started to understand that maybe that's possible for me as well. So basically what happened was that I knew that I wanted to have some type of financial freedom for myself. And I also understood that I wouldn't be able to get that financial freedom by just working for somebody else. So I basically decided to stop that internship. My mom was like super worried. I was kind of worried myself as well, but it also felt like an adventure because I knew that, okay, now I'm actually going to go for something that I really enjoy. And I started to look into the classic Google search, how to make money online essentially. And I found out about affiliate marketing. That's what I started with. So I did some Amazon affiliate websites. I actually found a mentor, a guy who was making over $150,000 per month, sometimes $200,000 per month by doing Amazon affiliate marketing. I started to learn from him, and that's kind of how I started my journey. I learned how to build some websites. I learned about marketing, about SEO, some paid advertising as well. And that's kind of how I started to build up my toolkit. And I basically just dove into it. And from there, it basically just happened essentially. I started to learn more things. I was super excited about it, super driven by it. And one thing led to the next thing. And I basically led up to today's point where I've run an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency, where I help a specific niche with a specific problem. They pay me good money. I get them good results. And I'm basically achieved financial freedom. I don't have to worry about money essentially, which is really nice. And I think there are a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs out there as well they are in the same kind of place where I was when I was 26 years old. I knew that I had to do something. I didn't want to study. I didn't like school. I liked to read, but I wanted to read about things that I was interested in essentially. And also nobody talked about how to be an entrepreneur. Nobody really told me in school how to think for yourself and how to kind of create a business for yourself. Everybody just teach you how to work for somebody else essentially. And that journey was really interesting to me. It felt like an adventure to actually trying to figure it out for myself. And maybe it's not for everybody, but I know that there's a lot of people out there who actually want to work for themselves or start a business and grow a business with their own vision, create a vision for themselves, kind of build a team and kind of create something, create value, become an entrepreneur and kind of earn your own money and achieve financial freedom. But financial freedom is only one aspect of it. So let's dig into the next point, which is time freedom. And time freedom is huge. I am right now 30 years old. I have parents who just became 65 years old, so they've stopped working essentially. And I love to play golf. That's why I have a Titleist hat on me today. But my dad also loves to play golf. And since I'm running an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency, and I have financial freedom, I'm getting great results for my clients and I'm earning good money. They're earning good money as well. It requires my attention and it obviously requires my time to run this agency. But by creating some systems and some processes, by learning more about business and kind of how you can outsource things and kind of build systems around things, kind of save time on certain things. Instead of doing like boring tasks over and over again, when you run a business and you have like a cash flow coming in, you can actually use that cash flow and kind of build a system and kind of outsource it to somebody else. So you free up time essentially. And what I can do now with my dad essentially when he stopped working is that since I have time freedom, I can play a lot of golf with him. And it's awesome. You know, just having that availability to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do is huge. And so that's why I love running an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency, because it earns good money, we have good margins, but it's also very scalable and it doesn't require that much time for myself personally if I'm building systems around it essentially. And I think time is actually more valuable than the actual financial thing, because when you have time, you can do whatever you want. And time is something that you're never going to get back, right? You can never buy more time. You can always get more money if you start the entrepreneurial journey and start to figure out your niche and your offer, etc., etc. I have other videos where I talk about that, how to do that. But time is something that is very valuable. And so I think that's what I started to understand when I was 26-year-old as well, that, hey, am I going to continue to do something that I don't like for the rest of my life, to just become 65 years old, have some money, and then what? Why not just start to try and figure out that right now? How do I do something that I truly love, that I truly like to do, that earns me good money, but also frees up time so that I can do what I want, be wherever I want, play golf with my dad whenever I want to, essentially. Which takes me to the third point, which is the location freedom. And obviously I've talked about this kind of already, but you know, when you start a business that is smart. And what I mean by smart is that you can start so many different business models, right? But now when we have the internet, which is a crazy thing when you think about it, we take internet for granted because we use it every single day. But internet is so insane. You can like build systems, you can interact with anybody from the world. I'm living in Sweden, I can work with clients in the US and I can help their businesses from wherever. I am not restricted to a specific location. I'm actually working from home right now, but I could work from anywhere. I could travel to whatever country I want to, or to whatever city I want to, and work from there, and sometimes I do. But the main thing for me is just to have that option that I can do it. It's not that I have to go to an office, have to respond to a boss who's telling me what to do, but I can actually do what I want, whenever I want, wherever I want. And I think this is what actually makes us happy as humans, to strive for a goal and continue to strive for a goal and trying to achieve it. And obviously in the beginning, when you kind of start as an entrepreneur, you just want to make that money, right? You want to earn some money, and then I'm promising you, if you really want to go for it and you really want to try and figure out how to start a business, you're going to figure it out. It just takes some time. Some people do it quickly, some people it takes some time for, but if you really want it, you're going to figure it out. But then once you start to earn money, you start to value your time more. You're like, how can I get more time? I'm earning money right now, but now I want to free up time. Now I actually want to do things. And also the location, you don't want to be stuck. Some businesses, you're stuck. So it's also important to kind of, when you start and grow and try to run a specific business, that you think about these aspects before you actually start. Okay, how can I start a business that is profitable, that I can get great results for my clients? It doesn't require too much time from me so that I can actually do some other things. It's also scalable so that I can help a lot of people without having to necessarily have to hire a lot of people. Maybe I can use the computer to do kind of stuff for me. And also, when I do all of these things, how can I kind of travel wherever I want to, if I want to, essentially? And that takes me to point number 4, which is a scalable business. And again, I've already talked about this, I'm all over the place, but having a scalable business is, in my opinion, very, very important. And this is something that you learn more and more from experience, I think. Like, you can read about it from other business owners, but you really understand it once you go through the hoops yourself. And again, like right now, everybody has access to the most insane tool the human race has ever seen, which is the internet. And with the internet, it's pretty easy if you just put some thoughts into it or learn from people that have done it before you, to create a scalable business. And so just to give you an example, let's say you love jiu-jitsu, let's say, and you want to teach people how to do jiu-jitsu. You can set up like a gym where you teach people how to do jiu-jitsu. That's awesome. And I think that if you do jiu-jitsu, obviously you have to actually teach people in person because you have to grapple with people and so forth. But now since we have YouTube, let's say you are a jiu-jitsu gym owner, you're really good at jiu-jitsu, you teach people how to do jiu-jitsu, but it's not that scalable. You can only help X amount of people at a certain time. Maybe, it's very expensive expensive to expand to multiple locations. You know, you have rent and you have all of these things. It's very, you know, mortar brick type of thing. It's very expensive, it's time consuming, it's hard. But what if you just created like an online course? You created a YouTube channel, you talked about jiu-jitsu on your YouTube channel, you started to teach more people over the internet, and you created a course that you could sell to people. Now you have a scalable business simply because you have access to the internet. You could continue with your location to teach people, but you also kind of market yourself and brand yourself on the internet for free with YouTube videos, let's say, and you create a course so you can have a new revenue stream coming in. And you also brand your business because now millions of subscribers for your jiu-jitsu YouTube channel, and now people, you know, professionals want to come to you and train with you because they know who you are and they like you, etc. So my point here is it's very important to think through how you can create a scalable business. And that's why I love to run an SNMA, a super niche marketing agency, because it's scalable essentially. And I can create more videos about like how to create the more scalable business if people are interested. You know, I can talk about this forever and I don't want to go too long in this video, but yeah, it's pretty cool when you do a scalable business. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, or I hope at least that there are some people out there thinking about starting their own business and they just need that like kick in the butt to actually go for it. And you know, start to think through, why do you want to start a business? And I think it really comes down to those three things that I've talked about, right? Like the financial freedom is a big one, also the time freedom, and also the location freedom. So it can be a good idea to just sit down and kind of think through these things, like how much money do I want to earn? You know, not everybody has to become billionaire, right? That's insane. You know, let's say you start an agency, you're like a 1 or 2 man show and you earn $100,000-$200,000 per month. To a lot of people, that sounds like a lot, especially when you start out. I remember when I started out, that sounded insane, but it's actually very, very doable. For example, with an SNMA, when you have a super niche, a super offer, a super service. But again, it can really be applied to any type of business. You can be a super niche personal trainer, a super niche whatever, really. But yeah, okay, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, starting your business, or starting an SNMA, let's say a super niche marketing agency, consider subscribing, follow along on the journey, and I hope to see you in the next video that you can check out here. Bye.